Hi, people. This is Deborah. Today is a great day. I want to give a shout out to one of my uh, favorite subscriber, Miss Natalie. Miss Natalie, I haven't seen any comments from you in a while, but I'm sure you're doing well. And I was looking forward to seeing you in August, but I guess this coronavirus took care of that. Um, I want to say take that resonate with you and that does not resonate with you, please put it on the shelf because you may need to use it at some point. Um, I want you to understand by no means do I think I am a physician, but I do a lot of research. Uh, and I do etymology of words, at least 10 a day. And I go to the oldest to the newest. In studying etymology of words because that's important to me. Also, whenever I'm led, I go to other YouTubers. A young lady suggested a man named Lewis. I'm going to go to his website and I'm going to see what he's talking about. Because she suggested it. Also, I don't think I'm a know-it-all. If you think that I'm a know-it-all, that's on you. Okay? I never indicated at no time that I think I'm a know-it-all. Um, I just want people to realize that whatever I have access to, you have access to it as well. No one is greater or less than anybody. What you have to say is important to me, and what I have to say is important to me. So, with that in mind, today's topic is going to be addiction. And is addiction the same thing as a habit? My son and I, that I live with, him and I was discussing this, and he wanted to have a conversation. We always having conversation. He's about to get his associate degree in December, and he's going on, like I said, to get his PhD, which I'm very happy for him because he is a recovering cancer patient, and he went through 3 years of uh, chemo, and I'm proud of him, not because he's my son, because he's another one that overcame uh, chemo, because we have other family members in my family that had chemo and passed. And so, and then one of them, one of my sisters' father went through chemo and it blinded him. And he lived for a while, but he was blind. And so, with my son, it was a total awesome uh, thing for him and myself. And of course, I spent the 3 years and 6 hours every 2 weeks sitting with him while he was taking the treatment, and that went on for 3 years. Now, like I said, the subject is going to be about uh, addiction. And one of the questions that I asked him, I said, do you think alcohol is an addiction if you do it every day, every week, every month, every year? He said the addiction is every day. And I said to him, anything that's repeated is an addiction. And of course, we got into a discussion about that. And I still stand the ground on that. Uh, for me, uh, it does not, just because someone went to college and have a PhD and has become a medical doctor or a psychiatrist. As far as I'm concerned, because I've had experience with them, and I'm not saying all of them are the same, but I have had some experience. One doctor told me I never walk again, and I am walking. Uh, One doctor told, I have a brother that he called us at midnight and said he was get down to the hospital because he was about to die. He did not die. And then I told the doctor, I said, my brother is going to be a miracle. And he said, uh, I've done a million of these and they die. I said, well, if he doesn't die, which he's not going to die, would you believe that there's a God? Because, doctors consider themselves to be God. So anyway, he said, of course I would. So after about a month of seeing my brother in a coma, when he woke up, his eyes was bloodshot red. Anyway, the doctor said to me that he was brain dead. I told the doctor that he was not brain dead. So I said to my brother, I said, if you know who I am, squeeze my hand. He squeezed my hand. And when he came out that coma, he recognized me. He know all our birthdays and everything. But anyway, I said all that to let you know doctors are not always right. That's all. And that was my whole point. And sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. And they are human beings just like we are. And we all, whatever we all say is important. And put it like that. So, whatever doctors say is just as important as what you say to me. And there's a few others out there like myself. Now, the doctors say, or the system says, addiction is these things. Addiction is codependency on food and eating, gambling, sex, love, work, shopping, debt, internet games. Now, the root word for addict comes from the Latin word addictus, past tense addicere, which means to devote, sacrifice, sell out, betray, abandon. In the Roman law, an addiction was a person that became enslaved through a court ruling. Now, let's see here. Addiction, according to the doctors, is a brain disorder characterized by a compulsive engagement in rewarding stimuli despite adverse consequences, despite the involvement of a number of uh, factors, a biologic process, one that is induced by repeated exposure to an addictive stimulus, is the core pathology that drives the development and maintenance of addiction, according to the brain disease modern of addiction. Now, however, many scholars who study addiction argue that the brain disease model is incomplete and misleading. So you see, the medical field made standard addictions a problem to give people medication to. All right. Now, do the physical body crave these repeatedly? Yes, it does and will as long as you are in this body. Can you control some of the habits, addictions? Yes, if you want to. Now, prescription drugs and herbals over the counter are considered to be um, addictions. Playing video game is addiction. Pain seeking. These are those always complaining about pain. These people here are the mental. They always, every time you see them, they got some pain somewhere in their body. That's a That is an addiction. And they can never say, oh, I'm doing great. They always find a pain in their body. That is a uh, mental disorder. Um, Religion obsessions. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit because people don't understand that there are all kinds of addictions in this earth. And the physical body itself, because it is a craver, and anything that you crave becomes an addiction, or you can say habit. Uh, Religion obsession. Worshippers of a physical deity are non spiritual seekers. They prefer a male to be a mediator between them and God and do not have a problem giving them money to make this person live in a mansion. Think, since this coronavirus, the churches were shut down, and this was a great opportunity for churchgoers and to think about what they were doing because of the addiction. You don't know it's an addiction, but it is. They found ways to serve their pastor pimps in the parking lots, Zoom, which is a software that you use on the internet, Facebook, which gives a live, I call it show, and also they found ways to give them tithing, which has nothing to do with money. It is the giving of 10% of your left side of your brain to the 90% right side of your brain, so that the windows of heaven, which is the cerebellum, will open up to you. That's what tithing is in the Bible, okay? Now, your Bible says in Isaiah 2:22, since cease ye from man, who breath is in his nostrils, for wherein is he to be accounted of? And this means, why trust a man when she or he is flawed like yourself? Why? You put your trust in the inward self, your God self, your most high, which is the cerebellum. That is where you get the knowledge you need to have regarding yourself. What is the mediator between God and man? If you go, I'm going to give you some scriptures. 1 Timothy 2:5, Hebrews 8:6, Hebrews 9:15, and Hebrews 12:24. Now, Timothy 1:2-5 says, for there is one God, one mediator between God and men, the man Christ. Okay? Now keep in mind the Christ is in the top of your head. Okay? It goes from down to up. And I'll get into that another. I talks about it in the video where it says sex and six. I'll talk about that there. But the international version says, for there is one God, one mediator between God and mankind, the man Christ, Jesus. Now, there are three types of people in this planet. The womb man, that is the she-he, androgynous. There is, and it means, man means the manifestation of the womb man. That means the man came from the womb man, okay? And then the mankind is the kind of man, okay? Not the kind of womb man, but the kind of man, okay? Now, the medical field has labeled addiction as a medical disease and has medication for it. And these medications do not stop what is naturally belong to the body. They say, this is what they say. Can a habit turn into an addiction? This is what they're saying. There is a fine line between habit and addiction. And if crossed, a habit can easily turn into an addiction. In order to understand the difference, let's look at the terms separately. Now, they say also habit is a behavior pattern developed by the frequent repetition of an act over and over to the point that the brain does it automatically. Okay? Now, they say an addiction is a compulsive need of a certain thing or substance to the body, which, when deprived, causes horrible effects. They also say a habit can be controlled or modified, while an addiction cannot be controlled and requires professional help for modification. Now, they tell you that because they want to give you medication. And medication, pharmaceutical, is big business. Now, am I saying that some people don't require some medication? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying it's big business and some things that are normal. I'm saying that the addiction, most addictions are habits, habitual, and they are naturally because it's attached to the physical body. That's what I'm saying. Now, they say the difference between habit and addiction has been under constant debate. There's a fine line between habit and addiction, and if crossed, a habit can easily turn into an addiction. In order to understand the difference, let's look at the terms separately. Now, we're going to go according to Merriam Webber dictionary. It says this: a habit is defined as a behavior pattern acquired by a frequent repetition or psychological exposure that shows itself in regularity and increased faculty of performing, an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly and completely involuntary. A habit can be made from a constant repetition to the point where a person is not even aware that they are doing it. Um, like biting your nails, like tapping your feet. You know how you're sitting at somewhere waiting somewhere and you're just tapping your feet and you look like something wrong with you? Yeah, I've seen people do that many times. So that's what they're saying. Now, an addiction is defined as a compulsive need for a use of habit forming substance as heroin, nicotine, alcohol, characterized by tolerance and by well defined psychological symptoms upon withdrawal, persistence, compulsive use of substance known by the user to be harmful. An addiction is an extreme form of habit, and the fine line ends when a person loses control over the act. Most addicted people know that they are addicted to certain substance, but they cannot turn away from the act of substance even if they wanted to. During an addiction, a person is willing to go to great length in order to go to great length in order to consume their substance. Addictions also have horrible withdrawal effects. And a person who suddenly stops drinking after being addicted to it for a certain number of years exhibits psychological or physical effects. Addictions also affect a person's memory, ability to make decisions, and to learn. That is what they say. Now, these are my thoughts. My thoughts are habits and addiction can be both positive as well as negative, but they are not destructive in nature. The act gets embedded in the brain after continuous repetition that the brain automatically sends signal to the body to perform that act. You got good habit and you got bad habit. Now, my thoughts are according to the medical field. An addiction is defined as a compulsive need for and use of a habit forming substance, as heroin, nicotine, alcohol, characterized by tolerance and well defined psychological symptoms, used with withdrawal, persistent compulsive use of a substance known by the user to be harmful. An addiction is an extreme form of habit, and the fine line ends when a person loses control over the act. Now, my thought addiction is more than just substance. It is repeated behavior, whether it be negative or positive. Now, there are those behaviors that are dangerous to self and others, which will work within yourself, can be dissolved or controlled within yourself. You have the power to change the addictions, the habits that are not warranted in you. Required determination and hard work have to start within. Now, my thoughts there are addictions we inherit from our DNA of our mother and father or gene pool that can be broken if you see them. There are addictions, habits you learn from watching others. You can break them if you want to. Now, there are addictions, habits with narcissists, controlling, aggressive, and hostile people who must put you down in order to lift themselves up. And I see it all the time on YouTube channels and those who assume so called certain job positions, so called worldly education, and these people do not have educational spiritually or education spiritually. I'm sorry. They say habit and act performed by a person that is built by the reputation to the point where the person is not aware they do it. That's what they say. Control. A person has complete control over the habit. They say, they say types, positive and negative. Okay, that's what they say with the person that is has a habit. Now, the mental status, mentally able, ability, memory, mental functions are normal. Modification can be modified or changed. Now, examples: biting the nails, tapping the feet, uh, tugging the earlobes, pulling on the t-shirt, putting the t-shirt on before the pants. You know, for a long time, and I noticed that the men will put their t-shirt on and not put their pants on. And I used to consider that to be kind of backwards because it seemed like, I don't know, I just feel like men to put their pants on first and then put the shirt on. Some of you probably have noticed it and some of you probably haven't noticed it. I noticed that even with me in my older age, if I'm putting pants on, I'll sit down because of my legs. I have pain sometimes, not sometimes, every day in my legs. And so I have to sit down and put the pants on me. And then the brass and all that, no bra and all that be on. And I just do that way. So I don't know. Okay. But they say addiction definition, an extreme form of habit, but the person has no control over the act. It becomes a need of the body. Control. The addiction has control over the person, is what they say. Types. The type is negative. Now, mental status. Mental ability is haywire. This is what they say. Person loses control over memory, actions, the modification can be changed. However, taking time, patience, and determination. Examples: drug, alcohol, sex, exercise, and gaming. This is what they say. Now, while it has been estimated that 75% of Gnostics are males, this may be due to a bias of women being more likely to be labeled as borderline. Um, it may also be due to a confusion of resulting from different presentation of certain disorder. My point is, agnosticist is has an addiction because that's what that is. There's all kinds of addictions that we have that we think we don't have. Um, I know a person, they have to go to the store every day. That's an addiction. I know a person, every time they work Monday through Friday and they're not working on Saturday and Sunday, but every Saturday, this person has to go to the dealership because this person feels like something is wrong with their car. That's an addiction. As I said many times before, that anything that you repeat is uh, it's an addiction. Some people like attention, so they do things to get attention because that's what they do. It's an addiction. But I'm talking about the narcissist person here now. Since female narcissists engage in the same type of uh, relation aggressive that teenage girls do, they can easily fly under the radar as the mean girl, and they are. They morph, coming to life in high definition. Something we as assume that they will eventually grow out of, and they don't. Uh, you research indicates that the adolescent girls who use high levels of relationship aggression also demonstrate low levels of empathy and caring toward others. And they do. I know that because I have those people in my family. Uh, there was a period when I was working at IBM. I was never the type of person that put people down. I was always the type of person that always uh, when people I was around there was a lot of people with low self-esteem that used to come to me, and I didn't think I had low self-esteem, but I must have at that time looking back at it. But so what I would do, I would constantly encourage those people, give attention to those people, and they were always constantly around me. All cultures. Um right along with my, so I never saw myself as a narcissist type of a person. What I have seen myself as, and I don't think it would be a narcissist type person. I never like men disrespecting or mistreating women. I never liked that. So I would kind of come on strong toward the males. The other thing that I never liked is the female uh, uh, taking out on their children what they want to take out on their man. I never liked that, so I always felt the need. If that happened around me, I always said something. Um, the other thing that I noticed I don't like when people try to tell me something that they've not done any type of research on it. They ain't tried to do no type of research on it. They don't know about it, but they try to tell you shit. That irritates me because you cannot have a full dialogue unless you come to the table with some substance. And that's just how I see it. Now, uh this Gnostic person, like I said, I have quite a few of them in my family. Um, The problem is the malignant female narcissist rarely outgrows her excessive sense of entitlement, lack of empathy, and thirst for interpersonal exploitation. She merely adjusts these traits to her changing environment. Um, I'll give you, for instance, let's just say if a person goes up the, uh, let's say, trick people out of their money, and let's just say they do it in the church environment, and let's just say that is illegal. So what that person does, it that person find that female does that female finds a way to where they don't get locked up to do the same thing, but they call it something else and it's legal for them. They won't go to jail for it. Uh, it's amazing, and these individuals will smile in your face, make you think you the greatest person in the world, and sit and talk about you behind your back. And then when they talk about you behind your back, and somebody comes and tell you what they said, then they want to say it was the other person and not them, but you know it was them. Um, you have to recognize who these people are, and if in fact you are, I feel like narcissist people can change if they desire to, but once again, like I say, this is an addiction. It's an addiction. It's an addiction in everything. Addiction. This the planet we live on is an addictive planet. Everything we do, from eating, from drinking, to having sex, to trying to get attention, um, shopping, watching TV, on the computer. Like my stuff is clockwork. I get up every day, between 5, 6, and 7. I go in, um, use the bathroom. It's standard. And then I make my coffee. I don't take a bath yet. I make my coffee. I sit at the computer. I get my prayer on. I get my prayer on while I'm sitting at the computer drinking my coffee. And then after that, I'll sit in the bathtub, hot water. I'll sit in the hot water because I was walking in the morning. My legs swole up because I let this individual tell me that she was using a certain thing, and then instead of me just checking it out for myself, I went on ahead and bought it and started using it, and it swelled my legs up, and my legs are still swollen. It's been quite a few days now, and so I'm just waiting on time to flush this stuff out of my system, and hopefully my legs will go completely down. They're going down, but slowly, so I'm not able to do too much. But anyway, uh, no one suspects the older woman, assumed to be nourishing and sweet, and she's very vindictive. She's cruel and ruthless. Nor do they expect the mother to abandon, neglect, or abuse their children. You take these women that smile in your face. I mean, every time you see them, that you be like, "Oh, girl, she's so sweet," but she's a raging monster. Just say some shit you don't like, she doesn't like, and watch her cut up. Oh yeah, and you be like, I didn't know she had that in her. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. You'll know they're narcissists because they when you talk to them, what happens is they will listen. They'll do all the talking. And then when it's time for you to share your part, they got to go. Now, see me, I can talk, but I'm a good listener too. I will listen to your story, uh, because there are times when you can talk and there are times when you need to listen. if you care about people. If you don't care about people, you don't have to listen because you don't care anyway. The narcissist does not care. Now, the female narcissists do not grow out of their childhood aggression. Uh, Eerily enough, they evolve into even more effective aggressive behavior into adulthood, using their manipulation tactics to serve their selfish agendas and to exploit others because that's what they do. I know somebody, and I tell you what they do too. They hold their money in their purse and they let you spend yours. That's one of the things. I remember one time this person was supporting this narcissist person, going everywhere with this person, supporting them everywhere they went. And then when the narcissist got in front of some audience, then that person embarrassed the person that was supporting them. And they don't care. They also don't care about sleeping with your man, just like the male don't care about sleeping with your woman. They really are when I say self-absorbed, they are truly self-absorbed. And they have, you pretty much say, damn, they cold. Trust me, I have them in my family. And they don't hang around me. But they don't know Deborah is not the person she used to be because I would literally tell them how I felt. But what I do now, I just look at them. I have nothing to say to them at this point. But let me show you another serious medical uh, addiction, and this comes from lack of. Okay, and you probably didn't even know it, but I suggest that you go and do research on it. Now there are some people down here. They have something called the dopamine in the brain. It's dopamine. That is, uh, some people are lacking that. And believe it or not, it's cocaine. Now, if your brain lack dopamine, this is a medical, not addiction or habit. Your body need it medically, please. Please do some study on it. You will use cocaine to substitute it, and many are doing this today and have no clue. Now, it is said Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it, and maybe still this is true. Coca-Cola used to have cocaine in it back in 1886 by Atlanta pharmacist John Pemberton, who modeled his beverage after the French refreshment cocoa wine, made by mixing cocoa leaf extract with Bordeaux wine. To avoid liquid regulation, Pemberton chose to mix his cocoa leaf extract with sugar syrup instead of wine. He also added cola nut extract, lending Coca-Cola the second half of its name, as well as extra draught of caffeine. I will list this at the bottom of the video. The other thing that you don't realize is a uh, something that is an addiction, and you don't realize, but it is medical as well. Now, if you have a hysterectomy, you lose estrogen. Estrogen stimulates cells in the heart, breast, bladder, brain, liver, and bones, and keeps the skin smooth and moist. Therefore, the lack of estrogen increases the chances of several health problems involving these organs. I am sure other things as well that the doctor does not talk about. Now, I wanted to bring this to your attention to help you realize that there are standard addictions that is suggested to you by polices. I call them polices. By the doctor, medical doctor. But let's look at this codependent thing for a minute. Uh, it's an addiction to depend on other people for your way of being. That is an addiction as well. It's important that you break the cycle of an addiction. Uh, there's nothing that we do down here that can't be broken. It's a process. That's the reason why you have uh, spiritual uplift. The more you become spiritual in yourself, the more these cycles will be broken. I had a cigarette addiction from 15 to age 57. That's gone. I'm 64 now. When I had problems and didn't want to cope and deal with reality as it was, and I'm talking about stuff that was going on around me in my family and things that was going on with me and my children or whatever, I would drink alcohol. I didn't want that habit no more because one of the things that broke that habit for me, I just couldn't stand. I got drunk last night and somebody was quick to tell me the next morning what I did last night. I didn't want to hear that shit. So I'm like, I'm tired of that. Because it's one thing that people do that they don't pay attention to themselves. They're very quick to tell you and judge you in what you do. But they don't judge themselves and pay attention to the things that they do. And that's what I've been trying to say for the longest in my videos. If you pay attention to what you do, then you won't pay attention too much to what everybody else do. Now, mind you, I told you I'm nosy by nature. Didn't pay attention when I was much younger, but now at my older age, I pay attention to everything. I can see the little ant on the wall from across the room. I can see that. But I'm gonna post stuff at the end of the video that I think that may be pertinent. But my whole point to the entire video that I want you to pay attention to is that addiction and habit is the same. It's the same. Even though they tell you it's not, it is the same. Everything that is a habit becomes an addiction. Everything. I don't care what you're doing here. You know, drinking water is an addiction because the body wants it. You're going to say the body needs it. But I remember some years ago before I became an adult, I wasn't a water drinker. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go further and say it. When I was in my 20s, I didn't drink water. So that can't be the case. I drink water now and have been drinking water uh, almost in my 40s. I started drinking water almost in my 40s because prior to that, there was no water drinking. I didn't even drink it when I was pregnant. Seriously. I drank me some soda. I drank me some Kool-Aid. But water, no. Now, my first baby was not dry, but my second baby, he was a dry labor because I didn't drink water. He was definitely dry. I mean, he wore me out coming out. But that was very painful. Um, but everything we do is an addiction. everything. So you might want to take a look at the things that are harmful to you as an addiction, and get from your inside what to do, and then look at that thing that is not harmful to you. Um, you definitely want to look at the things that are harmful to you and that is harmful to others, because it's not right, uh, to do people harm. It's not right to do yourself any harm. But you do yourself harm when you are a narcissist. You do yourself harm when you are a selfish person. You do yourself harm when you create problems for people and you laugh at them. Because when you laugh at them, it's going to come back on you anyway. We're in that period now. Whatever people used to get away with it in it, they're not going to get away with it no more. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Have a good one.